Sam, don't be afraid. I will not leave you alone tomorrow. Let your hands talk in the ring.
Fight fans, fight fans, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. And I have some new news concerning Oleksandr Usyk and Daniel Triple D Dubois. Listen, I had Usyk outpointing Danny Dubois as the overall possible outcome. I thought that he could stop Dubois, but I didn't see him stopping him like that. So, for that reason, I had it wrong. I think Dubois was on the momentum end. He was, he had won 3 straight fights. But like I reminded people, it wasn't Usyk. I've kept reminding people he should have fought Parker. I kept reminding people that nothing and no one that he fought prepared him for someone like Usyk. I kept telling you guys that time and time and time again. And all people could do was think about, they were tunnel visioned by the AJ defeat. And you have to understand something. Him beating AJ is not the same as fighting Usyk at all. Usyk is not that type of fighter. He is not the style that will allow him to fight the way he fought, and dominate like that. Usyk showed patience. He showed poise. He didn't really, here's the funny thing. He didn't show much foot speed as like he did before. He was able to move, but you can tell he was more stationary this fight. And I'm not saying that he couldn't move. I don't want people to think that, oh, well, he's stiff now. No, it's just he didn't move as much, and he used more feints and more head movement than foot movement, which we've seen a beautiful combination of the two in previous fights, right? So Oleksandr Usyk started with round 1. Just the jab was just there. And he was just jabbing. And then it was like Dubois was even stiffer than he was in the first fight. The first fight, I think Dubois did a lot better than he did this fight. And that's the disappointing part. But I think it all had to do with, his false sense of confidence that he gained from fighting 3 guys that fought nothing like Usyk. See, that's what happens. And I told people that shit. But the jab was there, people. The jab. Feint, move. He circled to his right to avoid the right hand. Even when Dubois tried to throw the left hook, it was slipped easily. It was like Usyk knew him. He had him already downloaded as a program on his computer right here. He already had it. He already had him, and he knew who he was, and he knew what he was dealing with in there. And it was no way that he was going to get rocked with big, hard punches like that. You know what I mean? And people should have told him to fight like Derek Chisora. And the reason why is because Derek Chisora went head, body, head, where the mistake I think that Dubois had, besides being slower, because the speed was just there. The difference was just there like night and day, right? He didn't go to the body. He tried to headhunt like he was fighting Anthony Joshua. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, who does he think he's fighting? He should be thinking like, look, what have you seen about Oleksandr Usyk makes you think that you can fight Oleksandr Usyk like somebody else? See, the point is, if you fought someone similar to Usyk, at least you would be geared, prepared, or at least anticipating that type of movement, that type of style, being more mobile, cutting off the ring. But he wasn't. That's the crazy thing. He wasn't. It's as though he was expecting Usyk to fight like Kevin fucking Ladena. And we all know Kevin Ladena, if you witnessed that 10 rounds of disappointment. He did not move his head at all. He did not move. He was another southpaw, but this was the wrong southpaw to think that he was going to be that stationary, to be hit with big punches from Daniel Dubois that was throwing punches with all his might, but his punches couldn't break wind. They were hard as hell, but they weren't quick. They were slow. They were very, very predictable. I mean, the punches that he threw, again, they were all to the head, like where are the body shots? And the one shot that he did throw was the shot that was low. Bars. And then that's when the problem came. When the problem came, when Usyk started landing those backhands. When he landed the first backhand, I think it was the second round. And that caught Dubois. Dubois took it well. But we could tell it affected him. Pow! That was the first time he got off that gas. He stopped moving forward. He kind of put it in reverse and started weighing back, kind of like how it was when AJ hit him. You know what I'm saying? So it was crazy. It was nuts, you know, and Dubois did go for the knockout. I mean, he did throw, but the punches that he threw weren't landing anything, and that's very discouraging. And then the shots that he was getting caught with, he caught him with a left and a right hook. That right hook brought him down, and then he gets back up. He did get up. And then he tries to rally back, but then gets caught with a shot blind, left overhand that he did not see, and it was done. He got knocked out. And you know the irony of this is? Oleksandr Usyk, well, he wasn't as bad off as Joshua, but it was in the same ballpark. He got knocked. When he got knocked out, he couldn't get up. If he would have got up, it would have been embarrassing. AJ just couldn't get up. His ass was in the air. His ass could get up, but he couldn't. And needless to say, Danny Dubois was knocked out the same way he knocked someone out. And that's the irony. You live by the sword, you die by one. But I'm going to leave you this. Oleksandr Usyk is so good of a dude that after the fight was over, and we clearly seen that Usyk knocked him out, the crazy thing is, he came over to Danny Dubois. And first he spoke to Don Charles. Don Charles was the guy that was spreading all this shit about him being cheating and not a child of God and a liar and all this and that. You know what I'm saying? A con and all that stuff. He showed him love, like, hey, man, you know, good fight. And then he went to Daniel. And then with Daniel, he was like, listen, whatever he told Daniel was very respectful, because Daniel was, you know, just kind of, you know, you could tell his expression like, man, I appreciate what you're telling me. You're not a dick at all. You know, I got to take my hat off to you. You know what I mean? It was respectful, and he gave him respect like he tried to do the first time. And Daniel took it as a disrespectful gesture. But now he knows, you know, maybe it's the language barrier and the words that he used. He didn't mean anything by it. In fact, he wanted to encourage you. Needless to say, 4 fights later, you are where you are now with $71 fucking million in your pocket. Right? So don't give up. And that's what he was trying to tell him. And I think he told him a bit more like he did before. Don't give up. Don't quit. But I'm too legit to quit. But you guys tell me what you think of Oleksandr Usyk knocking out Daniel Dubois in 5 rounds. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!